Welcome back to my kitchen. My name is Alondra and today we are making homemade eggnog. Freaking delicious. Starting off with all of our ingredients, we have 1 cup of heavy cream. I have 2 cups of milk, 100 grams of granulated sugar. I have a half a teaspoon of cinnamon, a half a teaspoon of nutmeg, a half a teaspoon of vanilla, and I'm starting with 6 whole eggs, but we're only going to use the egg yolks. First things first, let's go ahead and separate our whole eggs and just get our 6 egg yolks set aside into a small mixing bowl. So we have our 6 egg yolks. Granted, one of them broke, but we're gonna whisk them anyway, so we're not too worried about that. So into our egg yolks, we're gonna add 100 grams of granulated sugar. And then we will give those a whisk together to combine. So now that our egg yolks are mixed with the sugar, we're gonna combine our milk, our spices, and our vanilla paste. So we have our 2 cups of milk. We have a half a teaspoon of cinnamon, a half a teaspoon of nutmeg. We have a half a teaspoon of vanilla paste. All right, so now that we have our milk, spices, and vanilla paste mixed together in our small pot, let's put this over a medium-low heat, and then we'll use that hot milk to temper our egg yolks and sugar. So on my countertop burner, I have this set to like a medium low. Again, I'm just trying to warm it up and maybe bring it close to approaching a gentle simmer. Our finished eggnog is going to heat to 160 degrees. But just to get our milk warmed up to temper our eggs, we're starting at just a medium to low temperature. I love my stove, but it is just very hard to film because it's underneath my microwave. So for the sake of visibility, I'm using a countertop burner. So we're temping at about 175 degrees right now. Our final mixture is only going to need to come up to 160 so that we know that we've cooked our egg yolks. So I think we're at the perfect place that we can temper our egg yolk and sugar mixture. Introducing our milk mixture very slowly. So what we are trying to avoid is shocking the egg yolk and sugar mixture. The last thing we want is to have milk with little pieces of like scrambled eggs in it. That would be pretty disgusting. So this will give us a very smooth, velvety, custard cream texture instead of like a gritty or separated texture that can happen if you don't proper temper your egg yolks. Because I'm using a metal bowl, I can feel the temperature of this mixture. That is probably about 2/3 of our total milk volume has been added into our eggs. Now it's super warm. I feel comfortable at this point picking up the pot and just slowly pouring in the remaining like hot milk. If you are nervous about it, just continue to ladle over your hot milk. Be a little bit more in control of the flow. So now that our eggs, egg yolks, and milk have been tempered, we'll go ahead and transfer this back into our pot. Okay, so as you can see, this is still pretty foamy from how aggressively we were whisking it while tempering our egg yolks. I'm gonna turn the heat back on, but I'm just gonna keep it on a low to a medium low. We're gonna heat this, stirring it constantly with our spatula until it reaches 160 degrees Fahrenheit. The key to a velvety eggnog is heating it up slowly. So I don't wanna crank this up to try to get to 160 as fast as possible. We're going to start off on a low to medium low and then only increase the heat as needed to reach 160 degrees. As soon as this mixture reaches 160 degrees, I'm gonna turn off my burner and immediately introduce that 1 cup of heavy cream, our last remaining ingredient. All right, so you can see after just a couple minutes of heating and stirring this, almost all of the foam has subsided. It smells so good. Okay, check in with our temp. Right now we're at 126 degrees. All right, we're getting somewhere. Right now I'm at 150 degrees Fahrenheit, so we have about 10 degrees to go. So as soon as we reach 160 degrees Fahrenheit, we're gonna turn off our burner and introduce that 1 cup of heavy cream. $155. All right, we're getting real close. All right, 160 degrees. So now that we've reached 160, we're gonna immediately add our 1 cup of heavy cream. All right, and we are just about done. I'm sure you could get away with just bottling this as is. I am big on texture, and those little, for lack of a better word, like boogery pieces that stay attached to egg yolks, I don't want one of those to find their way into my cup of eggnog. So I'm gonna transfer this hot eggnog over into a bowl that has a pour spout, and we're gonna use, I have this little like fine mesh sieve that will just help catch any of those weird egg yolk boogers so they don't end up in my eggnog. All right, so then the last step for this recipe is just gonna be bottling our eggnog. So at the grocery store near my house, which is a Fred Meyer, they sell these like glass reusable bottles that have like a little lid that you can seal. So I figured this would be the perfect use for these. Now, one of these recipes essentially fills one of these bottles. So I have a little silicone funnel that I like to use. Now it can get a little tricky because that little bit of foam that forms just from transferring it through the mesh sieve can make it overflow just slightly. So I have to fill it most of the way and then let the bubbles reduce before I can usually finish filling it. But we'll get this transferred over into our glass bottle. All right, now to be honest, this time it actually did, oh, there it goes. I spoke too soon. So there you have it. So now that we've transferred this over, it's still warm. It's not hot because of the introduction of the cold heavy cream, but it's still pretty warm. I like to put this in the fridge just to give those spices some time to meld and let everything come together. I also like to drink my eggnog cold unless I'm making like an eggnog latte. So I'm gonna pop this in the fridge and we'll probably break into this one tomorrow. But yeah, you can see our spices, try to show you. The spices will settle at the bottom. So whenever you're ready to drink it, just give it a good couple turns. So you kind of redistribute your spices into your eggnog. My name is Alondra. I hope you and your family are having a wonderful Christmas season this year. Thank you so much for joining me today for this quick video on how to make a holiday favorite, eggnog. And I hope you have a wonderful Christmas and a happy new year, and we will see you in the next one.